Lumpur on Friday, and then in January we'll be going to Bangkok. Here though, Rich Franklin's One Warrior Series, and it's our third bout of the evening. Purev is in the red corner. The man in your screen is Tao Ho Bak. He is 4-3.
Fighters come to the center, please.
And they'll get their final instructions from the referee.
Obey my commands at all times, obey the rules at all times, have a good, clean fight. Right? Go back to your corners, please.
Gianni, I had a conversation about an hour ago with Purev. I was trying to make sure that I pronounce his name correctly, which I think is always a good practice, and I failed. I just could not pronounce his surname. We agreed that we would just call him Purev for this one. So my thanks to him for allowing us to do that. There he is in the red and blue shorts. And he's got a very jumpy opponent in front of him.
Purev here has a win over OWS contract winner Shine. So that says a lot to his abilities.
Yeah, that's a big scalp to have.
Tay, on the other hand, is looking to have a better outcome. In his last bout, he went up against Viet An Do, who's on the card also tonight.
I don't know if you can hear the noise that Bak's feet are making on the canvas here. He's jumping about, very, very active indeed.
Yeah, his chin is a little high, so he's got to watch out.
He's a big target there, isn't he? Purev takes him to the ground.
Double leg attempt by Purev, but Bak's going to slide out here. Oh no, Purev's coming up. Finishes up on top. Good scramble there by Purev.
Inside the first minute, we've already seen a lot in this contest. Working hard to just send in a few punches there to the side of the body. With that while that left hand is free, the right hand, as you can see, is quite tied up.
Yeah, Tay right now is just holding position, not really looking to attack, sweep, or move to a better guard.
Must have sent in about 20 of those annoying little digs to the body with the front part of the knuckle there, not the full fist, but the sharp front part of the knuckle there between the thumb and the index finger. So just tapping on those ribs, and as you can see, switching it up to the head. That'll be through, that'll be sore tomorrow.
Yeah, Tay right now is just locking Purev down. He's not looking to advance or attack, which is
what would be the advancing move here?
So right now he's got the overhook on the left arm of Purev. He's trapped that arm completely. He's taken that out of the picture. That's why Purev here is just throwing with his right arm, or left arm, excuse me. That is his free arm. Purev over here needs to move towards his left side. Look to pass, push down on the knees.
Work to finish.
We're talking about 40 to 50 blows to that rib cage. You can see that none of them are particularly hard, but when you land that many blows, that's gonna add up.
Yeah. I don't know what Tay's strategy here, Bak's strategy right now. He's just holding, which is interesting because he has a background here in jiu-jitsu. He's from the 10th Planet Korea gym. So I'd imagine him to have a little bit more attacks off his back from this half guard position here.
Trains with Sung Jong Lee, who's a one championship veteran.
Finally gets back to the full guard.
Oh, their elbows to the top of the head. They're all legal, as long as we don't make contact with the back of the head. Purev there just bringing some elbows down around the rib cage. My goodness, Bak's rib cage has taken a bit of punishment, hasn't it?
Yeah, Purev staying very active, throwing these little shots that score.
All of these will, of course, catch the judge's eye. I'm just wondering, those little punches was like, as I say, the sharp part of the fist. Towards the third round, that's going to take a toll, isn't it, Gianni?
Yeah, definitely. And also right now, these short little shots, he wants to draw a reaction from Bak. He wants Bak to open up his guard, look to trap his hands, so that Purev has more opportunities to pass the guard and move into something else. Because right now, as he's holding, there's not a lot of opportunity for Purev to advance.
And as he dips his head down and puts it under the chin of Bak, almost where the throat is there, in a sense, he's controlling the head and therefore controlling the whole body, isn't he?
Exactly. His head on the chin there doesn't allow Bak to swivel his hips and attack with submissions. Doesn't allow him to isolate anything.
They're just pushing down forearms. Is Bak scoring any points here? Is he doing anything to advance his position?
This is all Purev right now, attacking with short shots from the inside the guard of Tao Ho Bak.
45 seconds left in the opening round.
I like to see Bak push off, look to create some space. Because right now he's just holding, being defensive.
He's got to do something, hasn't he? He might hope that perhaps the referee will reposition them and he'll get a little bit of a respite.
But on the other hand, Purev doesn't mind staying here, scoring those little shots. He knows he's got another 2 rounds to go. Softening up Tae-ho Bak for the second and third round.
And notice how he presses that forearm down every now and then. There it is again. Puts his whole weight behind it so that the forearm comes down on the rib cage. All the while he's working that left hand, the side of the body, switching it up to the head. And they're not huge punches in the grand scheme of things, but the toll, I mean, we must be talking about 150 of those blows landed in that first 5 minutes.
These are the strikes that set up the takedown of Purev. And the short little strikes from inside the guard of Tae-ho Bak, from the half guard and the full guard as well. Trying to open up the guard of Tae-ho Bak, but Tae-ho Bak has been locking Purev down, not opening his guard, preventing the progression, preventing the pass of Purev.
And we did see whenever Purev just released Tae-ho Bak's arms, he would be vulnerable to that elbow to the top of the head, which you certainly don't want to receive. You can see I think there was a little warning there actually about
Seconds out.
blows to the back of the head. I think I heard the referee mention that.
Back to the corner.
Not a warning as such, but just an advisory comment.
Ready? Combat!
Second round then, 5 minutes down, 10 to come. See a red welt on the right shoulder of Tae-ho Bak.
Tae-ho Bak goes back to this unorthodox movement.
Very noisy movement, isn't it? Never known anyone make quite so much noise on the canvas as this man, as he stomps around. Takes a kick to the inside of his thigh, and he really doesn't want to come to grips with his opponent again after the beating he took in the first round. The taller man looks as if he's got a good build. Will want to keep this one at distance, you imagine, Gianni.
You'd imagine right now he's throwing shots that are not really significant. He's not really keeping Purev away.
Certainly not throwing with power. He's sending out a jab and a sort of flicked right hand, upstairs and down. Right hand, that caught Purev.
Purev with a deep double leg. He's gonna finish it here. Purev back in side control. Tae-ho Bak does not want to be here, close to the ropes, with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the second round.
So looking to tie up that leg. We're in a slightly different position than we were before, but sending in those right hands to the side of the body once again, on our blind side as we look at it here.
Purev trying to pass towards the left side.
Had his neck in a throat hold there for a moment, but he slipped out of it nicely enough.
Good pass, pushes the knee across the body. Now ends up in half guard.
We can hear the breathing. I don't know if you've got your volume turned up at home. Great natural sound we're getting here. Foot on canvas, heavy breathing. The sound of leather on flesh. It's almost like being in there with them.
Purev's just going to take his time here, land those short shots like he did in the first round. These are scoring shots, Steve. Not significant, but doing enough damage to keep the referee from breaking them up.
Well, the judges haven't had a great deal else to score, have they? So those little punches, I imagine, will have made a big, big difference. That and, of course, the takedown that we just witnessed.
Yeah, this is effective ground control by Purev. Preventing Tae-ho Bak's submissions, preventing him from doing anything offensive. Oh, but now Tae-ho Bak's looking to isolate the arm and throw up a triangle.
Yeah, concentrating on the arms that are just gnawing away at him by holding the forearm, holding the wrist, trying to control that offense that Purev's been sending towards his body.
So Purev now slides his arm out and goes back to the body shots. I like to see Purev pop his head out, raise his posture so he can create more leverage, but you can see the overhook of Bak is preventing that.
I think the referee is going to reposition them in the center of the ring so that they don't get all tangled up in the ropes there.
Hold it, hold it.
Another little problem is that our referee's mic is hanging down precariously from behind his belt there. I think he's reattaching that now. So yes, exactly. He's going to reposition them precisely as they were, but without the complications of having the ropes over their head. And you know this referee very well, Gianni?
I know him very well. That's Adam Shahir Karyum, one of the Malaysian pioneers. He was actually the first Malaysian to have a title shot in one championship. But unfortunately, due to injuries, he had to take a little step back. But always good to see him back.
And
so
you know,
knowledgeable.
He was so impressive in those one championship bouts. Really at the top of his game. We had great hopes for him, but injury curtailed that career, sadly. But it's great to see him in the ring, taking charge of these younger athletes. And we all benefit from his experience. Great to see Adam Karyum doing his thing.
Now Purev goes back to the same thing he's been doing in the first and second round. Short shots that score.
Yeah, from a slightly higher position this time, because Bakis was just sort of lifting him up there. He's got that right leg trapped, but now we're back almost identically to that body-on-body position with Bak on his back and Purev digging in that left hand.
Yeah, if Tay can control the left wrist of Purev and go to a butterfly hook with his left leg, he can sweep Purev, but he's not really looking for anything offensive. Again, he's just looking to hold, which is very interesting. Interesting strategy employed by Taeho Bak. I don't know why he would do this, but again, Purev on top, scoring those shots. Short little shots that keep him from being stood up.
And they must take their toll now. We're well past the halfway mark. In fact, we're approaching the end of the second round, and that side of his body is going to be very, very sore. It's bound to affect his movement even at this stage.
Yeah, and it's very fatiguing on your legs as well. You see him just locking down the half guard of Purev and trying to stop Purev from passing and trying constantly moving your arms just to stop these shots. It's very fatiguing as well, Steve.
Well, Bak's head is exposed now, Gianni, as well. So Purev is bringing that left hand upstairs, as it were. As you can see there, shots to the head as well now. So some variety in his attack. All of these, the judges will very clearly see. And as we come to the end of the second round, it really does seem as if Purev is in a fabulous position to take this contest into the third round and just judge it on his own pace.
Here's some of the action. This is Purev with some good combinations on the hand that set up his takedown over here. Locks up his hands and finishes off this double leg. And from there, Purev goes back to the same thing he's been doing in the first and second, Steve. Scoring shots and preventing Taeho Bak from mounting any offense.
So 10 minutes down, 5 more minutes to come. And can Bak do anything to change the way the judges have seen this contest so far? Because the 10 minutes that we've seen have been all Purev. Competed against people that are 2 weight classes above him in Mongolia. Is another man who's sort of run out of opponents in his locality, so he's had to take on bigger men. But the quality of athlete that he'll face in the one championship cage, if he gets to that point, will be plenty good enough for him to tackle them at his own weight.
Purev closes the distance, gonna lock up this double leg again. Bak is trying to lift him up.
Again, he's going for that double leg.
Strong.
Yeah, just dumping his opponent down almost in identical fashion to how he did in the second round.
You see here, Purev trying to figure for the legs of Bak. He lets it go now. He's going to pass to side control.
Well, Bak was in this sitting position in the second round, and he ended up exactly as we see him now here in the third. So it's been almost identical rounds to watch.
Same thing first, second, and third round. Purev just grinding Bak out. And top control, ground and pound. Bak has no answer from the control of Purev.
You figure that when he goes back to the training room, Gianni, he's going to have to figure out a way to get out of this situation because he's found himself in it 3 times.
Yeah, lots of things for Bak to work on after this bout.
I think referee Adam is going to reposition them once again. Just want to see if we can take the element of the ringside ropes out of this contest and allow them to compete.
But that's what's so great about this One Warrior series, Steve. you get to see the progression of these athletes as they make their way towards one championship, towards the bigger show.
For sure. The feeling is, and there's no hard and fast rule, it's all up to Rich, effectively, but the feeling is if you can string 3, maybe 4 solid performances together, then you're really up there at the front of the queue, and that's what Rich is looking for. He's looking for a body of work over time, isn't he, that impresses sufficiently well. Now, he's got to be careful with blows to the back of the head there. We've said before that if that blow doesn't make contact with the ears and it is on the back of the head, that is an illegal blow. So he'll have to watch that.
Right now, Purev is just making it uncomfortable for Bak, applying pressure on his chin, shoulder, chest, solar plex. Might have his back here.
He's kind of squishing himself up, isn't he, Bok, so that he doesn't give away too much in that position.
Yeah, here Purev could grab a Kimura and turn him to the side, but Purev might just flatten him out. And that's exactly what he does. Stays on the top pressure. Heavy top pressure here by Purev.
Purev's done all the work, Gianni, but would you like to see him at a level where he can take this dominance and move it seamlessly into a submission attempt?
Yes, of course. I'd like to see Purev create more space or actively hunt for a position, because right now, right now Purev is just happy and content with scoring these little shots. They're not finishing shots, they're not damaging shots, but this is what is leading him to victory. I like to see Purev advance position and hunt a little bit more for the finish.
So enough for a win at this stage, we think, but another one who'll have to go back to the drawing board and think about how he can just take his game to the next level. He's got the strength, he's got the dominance, but he needs a little bit more technique to turn that advantageous position into something that can end the bout.
Yeah, this is just a very grinding performance by Purev. Effective. He doesn't take a lot of damage. He can go back to the gym in a couple days. This is a smart victory by Purev. Not taking any damage, not risking anything. Top control again by Purev. I was going to look for a Dars. If he's able to clasp his hands on his bicep, oh, he might have it. He's going to sit to the hip.
Catch!
If he's strong enough, a sprawl is all it takes. There you go. He sits to the hip.
Now it looks tight. It's gone. He's tapped and it's over. Well, we were talking, weren't we, Gianni, about making that next move to the point where he could get the submission. And within a minute of us discussing it, he pulled it off. Well done.
Yeah, well done by Purev to finish Bak in the third and final round. It was effective top control by Purev all 3 rounds. Finally securing the finish.
Yeah, softened his opponent up all the way through. And, well, timing things to perfection, really.
There you go. That isolates the arm with his knee. Locks up the Dars here. Bicep, and here's just squeezing. When he drops that hip, it just compresses his head. No choice but to tap.
Adam Qayyum was on sort of the blind side of the hand that was tapping, but he got in there quickly enough. Good work from him. In the end, a very satisfying victory for Purev, and I think he'll be working to try and make that kind of thing happen a little bit quicker next time. But certainly he was dominant. Certainly he deserves the victory. And for Bak, this will be a learning experience as he drops to 4-4. The Mongolia, arms out to his sides, giving thanks for the victory. Breathing hard, and who can blame him? It's been, what, 12, 13 minutes of very, very hard work, but the smile is there for all to see. And our referee, Adam Qayyum, will just give confirmation of that victory now as he raises the hand of the Mongolian athlete. You can see and hear the delight. Very nice indeed. 3 bouts down, and we've still got 11 to come. It's mixed martial arts for you. Rich Franklin's One Warrior Series.